What is up? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning into the Michael Spencer Sports Show, podcasting exclusively from Living on Sports. You know, Cheston, if we make this a regular occurrence, we're gonna have to change the name.
I think so.
We'll have to put our thinking hats together, and maybe after a few 50, 75-cent triple wells, come up with a good name.
Something reasonable enough, I assume.
Yeah, something appropriate. Maybe just one 75-cent triple well.
Too many, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what we can get. We'll see what we can gear up for on Thursday night. But if you missed it earlier, go back and certainly listen to our first two segments. Covered some pro football and some college football as well. Now we're going to sort of cross into all sorts of different realms. Let's see. Jim Rice, Hall of Famer Jim Rice, came out and was at the Little League World Series and said, maybe he didn't say, it's now been reported that he was misquoted, that major leaguers were bad role models for the young guys playing in the Little League World Series. And he mentioned names like Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, and I think people took that out of context. I don't think that anyone is going to rightfully accuse Alex Rodriguez or maybe Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, he came back and said he was misquoted about Jeter, I think, particularly.
But what do you think on that? I mean, if he is, obviously nobody's going to accuse Derek Jeter of being a bad influence for Little Leaguers. But there are certain players out there who are.
I don't know. I mean, that goes without a doubt. I mean, there are Manny Ramirez, Big Papi. Every day someone else comes out with steroids. And, again, it's kind of like with Michael Beasley. Who's shocked?
Now, is it steroids that makes them bad influences, or is it the other things?
Well, I think if you look at it, I don't know what it is about the sport or maybe the players they have, but baseball has far less legal issues. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people out there that are, they're beating their wives and things like that are wrong. But I just think for the most part, baseball has a much cleaner image on the legal standpoint. It's more of the on-play cheating that I think that people see as tarnished.
Well, and so how does that compare to other sports? Michael Beasley going maybe drug rehab, Dante Stallworth drunk and driving and killing people, baseball players cheating to get ahead. What's the worst? I mean, obviously none of it's good. But what's worse?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument for any of them, but I think that from a standpoint of a young kid, you got to look at Michael Beasley because both baseball and Beasley are using drugs, but Beasley's drugs are illegal. Baseballs are only illegal for their sport, and if a parent allows their child to do that, a steroid and HGH type thing, then that's a parent's prerogative, and I think that's wrong. But that's up to them. But when it comes to baseball using steroids, I don't think that's as big of an issue of role models as, a player that's going into clubs with a gun in his waistband.
Well, and exactly. I mean, I think if you're staying out of legal trouble,
right,
then you're not a bad influence. Now he, one thing I didn't agree with Jim Rice was coming out and saying that Manny Ramirez with his dreadlocks was bad. Come on, if the guy wants to wear dreadlocks, let him wear dreadlocks. And sure, it may have the sort of thug image to it, and maybe that's where he's going with that. But if that's how the guy wants to wear his hair, let him wear his hair.
I've always had an issue with how people take offense to things like that, like in the NBA and the NFL when people have their cornrows, their afros, and things like that. I just thought, let a man wear his hair how he wants. Dennis Rodman is a prime example. Just let him do what he wants. It's self-expression. It's not a gang thing. It's not a thug thing. It's just how they like to do it.
Well, and it goes back to Charles Barkley saying, I'm an athlete, not a role model. And it's a lot of that is on the parents. And Charles Barkley, now I
disagree with him there.
I don't always agree with that because you are in the limelight and kids do look up to you whether you want them to or not. But if the parents are involved, then the kids will look up to the right guys and not the wrong guys. And if the parents want to let them wear their Manny wigs or whatever, or wear their baggy pants like CeCe Sabathia, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But teach your kids the difference between right and wrong. And I think if you stay out of legal trouble, then you're all right.
No, I completely agree. I mean, growing up, my parents, my dad in particular, I looked up to, Dale Green, Michael Jordan, these players that didn't have these issues surrounding them because I was allowed to form my own opinion, but my dad was informing me. I think maybe parents are shielding is the problem. You got to say, don't look up to Michael Vick because he killed dogs. This, that. You can't say, well, he's not a good player because that leaves too much leeway room. But if you set the facts out for somebody, let them choose.
Well, and understand that everybody makes mistakes, So you move on. But certainly Jim Rice, and he's a Hall of Famer. He has a right to speak his opinion. But
everyone can say what they want. I just think he was out of line in saying that. I mean, A-Rod, the worst off-field thing he's done, really on-field too, was when he was supposedly seen with somebody that wasn't his wife in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Now, if that's the biggest issue for someone as a role model, then maybe got some other issues. But I think he's fine.
Well, if kids want to look up to somebody, and they need to look up to him fast, because Usain Bolt, all that guy does is break world records. His own world records.
At some point, you got to wonder, when will he peak?
Unbelievable. And he was just given a huge chunk of the Berlin Wall.
Over a ton.
Just unbelievable. Freaky fast, freaky good is Usain Bolt. And now there's this issue of the Olympic runner who is a girl who's killing everybody, and they're thinking she may be a guy.
Well, according to her dad, she's daddy's little girl, but who can take that at its word?
Well, and how do you not know?
You would think it'd be pretty easy. They talk about this genetic testing that, maybe if you don't want to look with your eyes, then just do a blood test. You can easily tell if someone's an XY chromosome or XX.
You have to fly in 4 separate doctors in order to figure out if this person's a guy or a girl. And, there's all sorts
I don't want those doctors treating me, is all I know.
Yeah, no joke. There's all sorts of weird things that could happen. But, I don't know if this is just women getting bent out of shape because this girl's really good. But I hope it turns out that she is a girl and she's just that good and she's just kicking their butts and they need to suck it up and take it.
Yeah, they just need to get over it.
Now, somebody who can't get over it, Allen Iverson, can't get over finding another team. Why is AI still on the market? Personally, I think he's still on the market because he's a team wrecker.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants him. Why would you want an overaged ball hog who all he's going to do is shoot the ball and ruin the chemistry in your team?
And last season, when he was asked to go to the bench, he said, "Oh no, I'm too hurt to play for the rest of the season." Had he been a starter, I think he'd have played all 82 games. But when asked, "Will you come off the bench?" he said, "No."
He's always had a bad rap. He's always been a good talent. He's past his prime. Unfortunately for him, he will never win an NBA ring. But I personally don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't. I think early in his career he deserved it. I think his best chance with Philly. Unfortunately, ran into the Lakers dynasty at the time. There's no denying the guy at his prime, and even still, can help a team. He can produce. There's no denying that. I think he can shoot, he can drive, he can pass. But he kills chemistry, and he will never play for a winner again.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Nobody wants to take the risk on him.
Well, and he's not even willing to take a back seat anymore.
No.
And just say, okay, yeah, I'll sit down. Now, one guy who is willing to take a back seat, or maybe he'll start after the way he pitched the other day, John Smoltz joining the St. Louis Cardinals. He was terrible in Boston. When the Cardinals picked him up, I was like, I don't really know how good he's going to be. But then he came out and struck out 7 in a row.
Set a Cardinals record.
Yeah, unbelievable.
No, I'm very happy for John Smoltz. I love John Smoltz. I was sad when he left Atlanta. I would love to have seen him end his career there. Boston, I thought, well, at least he can win another ring. But he was god-awful there.
He was terrible. And how do you go from being terrible in Boston to being all of a sudden really good in Cardinals?
Well, I think one of the things that's interesting is they're saying, was it John Smoltz or was it the borderline AAA team, the San Diego Padres? Or is it a little bit of both?
This is true. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think definitely the competition is a little worse, or a lot worse, in the NL Central for Smoltz than it was in the AL East with New York and Tampa and Baltimore. But I just think that John Smoltz is a good pitcher. He won't strike out 7 in a row again. That was just an aberration. But he will be a consistent winner. He can go 7-4, 7-3, something like that, and be a good playoff contributor, I think.
Now, one more thing real quickly. Jason Giambi getting picked up by the... Why? Why would you pick up Jason Giambi?
It doesn't make sense to me. Last year he had a real resurgence, and I was happy for him because I always liked Giambi, and I was sad to hear he was on steroids. Surprised? No. Sad? Yes. So I was happy last year when he was completely clean and had put up good numbers, but the Yankees ran him out of town. He went back to Oakland. And he was awful.
He was terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
His batting average wasn't even 200.
No, it was below, and he had 2 homers, and he played a fair amount of games. So I just don't understand where he fits in with the Rockies. They already have an aging first baseman in Todd Helton, and they don't have a DH in the NHL, NL. So I just don't know where this is going.
Real quickly, Cowboy scoreboard, leave it or move it?
Leave it. I'd kick it every time if I'm with the opposing team.
Absolutely. You got to do something. That's all our time we have. Thanks for tuning into the Michael Spencer Sports Show, podcasting exclusively Living on Sports. Had a good time. We'll do it again soon. Take care, everybody.